When the world feels uncertain, maintaining control can bring comfort, but it can also block you from the opportunities that uncertainty can bring. So with everything feeling quite unstable in the world right now, your first instinct might be to default to what's predictable. But what if this is your moment to take stock of what you're chasing and why? So today, I'm going to show you 3 ways to start getting clearer on what truly matters to you, beyond the internal and external pressures and the expectations and opinions of other people, so that you can make clearer, more aligned decisions. And considering the times we're in, right now is a perfect opportunity for this. Because if you don't use moments like this for reflection, it's really easy to end up pursuing things that look good or feel safe due to the uncertainty, but don't make your life better in the long run. And I get it. When things outside you feel unpredictable, sticking with your defaults helps you feel like you're in control. That makes sense. But here's the catch. Control is predictable, and predictability rarely creates opportunity. Growth usually asks you to move through a little discomfort, and most of what you need is often on the other side of what feels comfortable. But instead of this, you run from what you probably actually need, which ironically only produces more fear, because by avoiding things, you actually amplify the power they have over you, and your world subsequently becomes smaller and more restricted. If any of this resonates, if you've been questioning the purpose of all your striving, questioning what you're building, wondering what the future holds, or just feeling a sense that you need to reevaluate life a little bit, then this video is for you. I'm going to give you 3 muscles to start building and a practical way to build each one of them. Not to become perfect at them, but just to practice them, so that slowly over time, you can default to control and predictability a little bit less and move with greater courage and greater purpose instead. The first muscle to build is clarity, which is about building awareness, insight, and conviction about who you are, about what matters most to you and why. The second muscle to build is your observing brain. This is how you get better at noticing the world around you and seeing the opportunities in it. And the third muscle to build is courage, which is what helps you live in alignment with whatever you get clarity on. Not without any fear at all, but without letting the fear dictate your every decision. Let's start with clarity. A simple practice I want to give you to build your clarity muscle is committing to small but frequent reflection. In other words, reflection practices as a way of life. Because most of us are in constant motion, and when we finally stop, we often detach from ourselves by reaching for the internet and social media, anything but our own thoughts. And sometimes that's just habit, but sometimes it's because we're afraid of what we'll find. But remember, the more you avoid something, the scarier it will feel. However, clarity is about getting closer to the honesty that you fear, and the truth that busyness blinds you from. So it fundamentally requires releasing judgment and shame. Otherwise, they will become blockers for you, and it will be harder to get to clarity. So to get the most out of reflective practices, it's important to let go of the audience that you think is always judging and evaluating you, even if that audience is you. So here are 2 questions I use with clients to cut through all the noise of life. The first is, at the end of your life, what do you want to be able to say you were relieved and pleased that you did? And what are you not willing to lose or compromise to get there? If you want to go even deeper with that one, the 5 whys method on both of those questions will help even further. And that just means asking, why does this matter to you, after every single answer you give? And you ask that 5 times, right until you hit the real root drivers behind your answers. Doing this, you might discover that you're sitting on skills and abilities that could change your life, or you might release a new passion and commitment for something that was once lying dormant. One very useful way to reflect is to externalize. Externalize your thoughts through things like journaling, personal voice notes, written notes on your phone, or having a live conversation with someone I call a perspective partner. And I've spoken about that in previous videos. And that's just someone or anyone who is honest and trustworthy, who can help you see blind spots or connect dots. The more you externalize, the more you start to see the beliefs that are secretly dictating your daily actions. And that's so important because those actions will ultimately be what shapes your life. Gaining clarity through reflection helps you get better understanding of your inner world, but building your observation muscle helps you gain greater insight about the world around you, which is how you start seeing opportunities and connecting dots so that you can make better moves in uncertain times. So the next muscle to build is observation through what I call curiosity reps. And a simple practice you can use to get your curiosity reps in is called what, so what, now what. So for instance, you can set a timer for 3 minutes or however long you want. And for the first minute, capture the what. I guide my clients to notice 5 factual things happening in the world, in their workplace or their industry. The next is so what, and this helps you connect the dots. And here you're asking things like, what's the pattern? What might all these facts be pointing to? Is this becoming more or less important? And what matters most to me here? And then the now what is where you decide on one way you'll respond to what you've observed in the what, so what reflections. You could take one conversation, make one decision, or take a tiny experiment that gives you more information. Practices like this have been shown to help you respond more flexibly instead of reacting on autopilot or overthinking, which we tend to do in times of uncertainty, because the instinct here is to think narrow and closed rather than out and broad. So building your clarity muscle involves embarking on reflective practices, and building your observation muscle helps you notice opportunities better. But the third muscle to build is courage. Courage through experimentation practices, because clarity and seeing more opportunities are great, but without courage, nothing will become real. Most people describe fear as someone actively running away from something, almost like in a panic state. But fear can also look calm because it often disguises itself as comfort and predictability. It can disguise itself as never taking risks, keeping everything reasonable so that you never have to be seen trying or failing. But courageous practices, or small acts of courage as I like to call them, they help you to start actually taking those steps towards creating the life you'll be pleased with. And you can do this by committing to a life of small experiments. One question that I use to open this up is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I love this question because it opens your thinking and helps you create plans that aren't weighed down by the limitations we place on ourselves, especially limitations we don't even realize we have. Once you've established what you'd do if you knew you couldn't fail, you can identify just one small action to take that will move you closer towards it. The more you practice and experiment, the greater your courage will become. And they don't need to be immensely risky acts of courage. It can be low stakes. The most important thing is that you take some sort of action that corresponds with whatever you understand now because of your clarity practices or your reflection practices, and what you've observed in your environment through your observation practices. Each small experiment also gives you data and it gives you feedback, and both refine and improve your clarity as well. I was saying to someone the other day that we take life so seriously. And of course that's understandable, because we always have so many responsibilities. But in the process, we unknowingly lose that spark of exploration and learning because society basically beats it out of us. But seeing life as an opportunity for learning and exploration as well helps you break out of the cage we make for ourselves, where we're afraid to take the risks that ultimately grow us. They challenge us and help us flourish the most. So in the comments, tell me, what would make you feel like you've lived a life you're pleased with by the end of it? And what one small step would you take towards it if you knew that you could not fail? There was just no way you were going to fail. The world will always offer you a script. Meaning starts when you stop performing it. And the truth is, in uncertain times, you don't just need new goals. You need a compass. If you want to go deeper into how external metrics and approval quietly hijack your life, then watch my video here. See you there.